Hey, everybody. Cloud Hero, anybody heard of it? And you can't say you're staring at my t-shirt. Kyle's heard of it. There should be a few people in this room who have actually participated in it or who will be soon. So I'm really excited to talk to you about this, and I'm excited to be here. Okay, what is my journey? So I started going to the United Nations School in New York City, so I've always had this great global outlook, which has been just a really great way to think about how the world is interrelated and how people and opportunities are all interrelated as well. I went to Cornell. Where is she? Where's my new friend? There she is. Go Big Red. And that was a great 4 years. I was a government major. I actually learned BASIC in high school, but I'm pretty old, and back then, there weren't always that type of encouragement to go forward with programming. I had no email in college. Can you imagine? So I decided to go into public administration, public policy. I worked for the Smithsonian for a few years in DC, and then I went to get a master's at NYU. Anybody here from NYU? Oh, we have to do something about that. And then I moved out west to Seattle, which is, of course, a tech hotbed. And while there, I was still really into education. I finished my master's at University of Washington, ended up training people in Central and Eastern Europe in how to teach and write case studies. Are you all familiar with the case study method? Had to use it? Yep. So do you know what? When the wall came down, Central and Eastern Europe, they had never used it before. And so that was a really exciting time to go in and to help build up that part of the world. And that got me thinking about how do you train people? Oh, and by the way, when I worked at the Smithsonian, I threw really big events, like at the Air and Space Museum, for 1,500 people. So you can see how all of this is starting to weave together here. So then I also went and I worked at a school as a senior administrator. This was a school for highly capable children. At the time, I had some highly capable children of my own running around my house. And you know what? They played a lot of video games. A lot of video games. They're the same age as you. And with those video games, yeah, I wanted to unplug them, and I yelled at them to stop playing so many video games, you're ruining your mind. But I was watching things, and I was paying attention to what they were learning. One day, I heard my older son speaking in Russian. My son did not take Russian at school. I'd never seen him do anything. He was speaking in Russian. Why? Because he was playing like CSGO or something like that. So all of a sudden, I'm watching my kid speak in Russian. And then I'm paying attention to what they're doing, and I'm realizing there's some really serious critical thinking going on. Amazing. So this all leads up to what? There's a very large logo on the screen, right? So I moved over to Valve, and I started doing game-based learning. And what we did, I know you like that, don't you? Okay, the game that we did all of this around was Portal 2. Why? Yeah, think of that, right? Because Valve started hearing about all these teachers and all these students and all these parents who were using Portal 2 to teach physics, right? Little bit of chemistry. Who's played Portal 2? Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, my head was starting to explode. I was watching what my kids did. I was seeing what we could be doing with game-based learning. And this was really when it was exploding in the academic sense. And so many people wanted to bring these types of learning. I watched a young man who is now actually a software engineer for NASA. But at the time I met him, he was a high school teacher at a charter school in Tennessee. And he would carry his desktop up 3 flights of stairs twice a week so that his students could play Portal 2, and he built lesson plans around it. That's pretty cool, huh? That's where that all started. All right, so then what happened? So I left Valve, and I started a company in EdTech. And we were doing online interactive training and education videos. So I started thinking about, okay, so there's students who we can do things that are online and interactive, and then there's professionals out there who also want to learn in a really dynamic way. So that was really fascinating. That was great. And I had a little interlude at a consulting company where I had the opportunity to work with Google. Because there was this really cool guy named Miles Ward, who's the director of solutions. And he's like, we need to throw a party. We need to train developers to do super cool stuff with GCP, and we need to make it fun. I think that sounds like a good idea, right? So we got together, and we figured out ways to make a really fun experience. And I came over to Google Cloud because of it, and I am now bringing it to you. Okay. Welcome, Cloud Heroes. So you are all Cloud Heroes. We are all Cloud Heroes. What is Cloud Hero? All right, Richard from BU, where are you? Are you here? No, we lost him. He was here somewhere. Anyway, so that was taken at Boston University at the business school about 3 weeks ago. What is Cloud Hero? Well, we take GCP and we take those cool quick labs and we put it together and we make it competitive. We make it a game. And we get together for about 3 hours. I'm going to show you a sample schedule. And everybody gets to learn about all these building blocks, these foundational skills that you just heard Soumya mention are really important for you to have really fulfilling, enriching technical careers. And you can bring it to other students at your school to be able to do that. And here's the other thing that we're seeing. Because we're doing a pilot, I'm going to show you in a moment where it is we found that there's 5 business schools or 4 business schools on this list. It's what she mentioned, Masters of Science in Business Analytics, data scientists, data analysts. So I encourage you, as you create your communities, your DSC communities, remember, it's not just CS majors. There's tons of non-CS STEM majors who may be majoring in electrical engineering or in biology, but they're really interested in technology. And every single industry that anybody is in, for-profit, non-profit, anything that you do at all in your career, you need technical acumen. You need to understand the power of what you can do with tech. So please tell all your friends also who aren't CS majors that they all still need to know all sorts of things to be able to do amazing things in their careers. All right, so that's what we're doing, and this is where we're going. Because we're looking for Cloud Heroes everywhere. So we're going to 11 schools. The ones in orange, we've already been there. And the ones in green, we're on our way. Where are they happening? Do you see your school up here? You sort of want your school up here. You see your school? Are you Sam from Tennessee? Rose-Hulman. Sam from Rose-Hulman, right. So there are several of you who I've either had GVCs with, or I'm glad to meet you right now because we haven't done that invite from our email yet. But this is where we're going, and this is what we're doing. And that's a picture at Michigan Tech. So that actually, the woman lying down in front is actually the professor. And that's a mix of grad and undergrad students who both won Cloud Hero and helped volunteer at it. Okay, what we're doing is 2 types of games. And we want to take steps for people to learn things. So I would actually say the infrastructure and data one we might iterate on, because every single time we have one of these, we do a retrospective afterwards. And I speak to all the volunteers, the Googlers, and the students. We get a survey, and we look at it and we say, did it achieve what our goal was? And our goal is for you and your communities, for students to have the building blocks, to take those next steps, to continue on with specializations and certifications, to be the valuable talent that you are. So what we've done is we made a little iteration after the first one. So the first one was at Boston University, and they did the labs, and afterwards they said, you know, we would have liked to have heard more from the Googlers and heard more about what these applications are. So we added for Penn State, which was the next one, and Tiffany's here somewhere, and you'll hear from her in a little bit. We added an AI and ML presentation by a Google Solutions architect. So that's gone over very well. So we just continue to iterate on what we're doing. And so we've decided that, well, we're going to go a little bit more slowly. We're not going to rush through this, because we've actually run Cloud Hero all over the world for professionals at Google Cloud Summits and at Next. But you know, you all are interested in learning and you advocate for that. So all the students said to us, we want to go more slowly, we want to digest it all, we want to have more conversation about it. So that's where we've gone. And then we play a competition at the end. But we give out prizes for all sorts of things. I like to give out prizes for collaboration, for helping someone else, for effort, and for most creative username. Okay, you heard about what a study jam was. I've told you a little bit about Cloud Hero. This is what the difference is. So a study jam always happens in person. It is collaborative. You are still using Quick Labs. What we can do with Cloud Heroes, we're actually testing it at Michigan Tech this weekend. I'm actually running a Cloud Hero as I stand here. I'm actually talking to you. But Michigan Tech has access to a game online. And it's a 2-lab game, and we're gonna see what happens. Because we were there last week and they wanted more. So we said, well, let's test this and let's see how it works. Because if it works out well, you could run one. And I don't even have to be there. I'd like to be there, of course, but I don't have to be because you can be in charge and you can run a Cloud Hero and you can do it digitally. And we'll send you these cool t-shirts because I bought a lot of t-shirts, let me tell you, because we all love t-shirts, don't we? Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the #1 big recommendation. That's why it is in bold. Go do study jams first. I really recommend this. It gets you used to what the Quick Labs environment is like. It gets you getting under your belt what it's like to throw an event at your school. It gets the people who are attending just feeling like they have a little bit more grasp of what's going on, and then you run a competition, okay? All right, what does a sample agenda look like? Oh, there's Tiffany right there with her cape on. She looks embarrassed. So it's a 3-hour event. So we welcome everybody. We thank the universities. We've been amazed. And here's the other thing. And you heard this from Kevin earlier. I have been amazed at the outpouring of effort that the universities, the administration, and the faculty have actually brought to bear for this. So in helping with arrangements, in sometimes supplying refreshments, in making sure things get scheduled right, in finding other faculty or faculty members to support. There are so many people out there who will support you. You just need to ask. Then we have a 15-minute presentation. And there are instructions, which are getting more and more detailed every time we do this, about how to play. We spend about an hour and a half on the starter labs. And that's really, to do 4 labs, that's pretty much what it's taken. A little more, a little less, depending on the skill level of the participants. Then we do a challenge lab. So last night, we were at Seattle University, and they did not finish it in 45 minutes. We had to pause and figure out who had the most number of points. But that was okay, because what we were doing is everyone was putting an effort to learn something and be able to then take what they'd learned and be able to apply it. Because you've heard about, we give out GCP credits. You can go make your own projects. So there's all these building blocks that we're providing so that you can go out and do transformational things. Okay, then the other thing that people like hearing about is what are the learning and career opportunities? So I cover some of the same things that Soumya just covered about different Coursera courses you can take, different credits you can get, other Quick Labs. And then at the same time, I'm working with, I actually give a plug for the DSCs. So I've been doing that. And I also have some information that I bring from recruiting. And I give people an idea of what the possibilities are in terms of resources, in terms of job interviews, internships, and full-time jobs at Google Cloud. All right, and then we always have to do a survey. Everybody gets a t-shirt. And then we always have to do a retrospective. We go around the room. What are the pros? What are the cons? How will we mitigate them? So these are sort of what some of the presentations look like. So we've got the AI and machine learning one. There's a cloud auto ML slide right there. We take everybody through what it looks like, how you play the game, what it looks like, the value of the credentials and the recruiting resources. And we play that fun video. And we have another one too. Event requirements. These event requirements are pretty much the same as any event where you need a whole bunch of laptops that need to be charged, that have also, where you have those power strips. where you don't have to go buy the 11 that Kevin had to go buy. And there can be refreshments, but it's basically the same thing. We provide materials. We actually also make a registration website for you. So we have one of those. And then that's a great way for us to give people preparation materials. We give everybody access to GCP Essentials on Quick Labs. And actually, at any moment, we're going to Slack you a website link. You'll see pictures from the three of the ones that we have run, because last night's is not up yet. And there is an I'm interested button that you can click on, or when I get to my last slide, which is soon, you can just email me and say, I am interested in running a Cloud Hero at my school. And that is, where are we? That picture is Michigan Tech. Okay, so here's, again, emphasizing faculty involvement. So we have had all sorts of different configurations of who's involved with these things. Sometimes it's a professor who has wanted to run Cloud Hero. Sometimes it's a student group. Sometimes it has been the Career Center. So it can come, so these are all the types of programs that you can access when you're doing projects. You don't have to do it for just a Cloud Hero, by the way. All of these programs and departments are interested in supporting you. That is Mohammed, who is the business school professor at BU, who was speaking. And then in the bottom there's a whole bunch of different people, including a dean and me, because I obviously never take off this t-shirt, and people who have come from Google. And so when you do a Cloud Hero, as you work with us, we try really hard to bring other solutions architect, a customer engineer, some people from our account team. Just, we're one Google. We're all friends, and we want to make sure that you have what you need. All right, your involvement. This is a great opportunity. All of this is. This is just a subset of all the amazing things that you are doing and will do as DSC leads. But I wanted to have this opportunity to show you more pictures of the volunteers. So here's something that we've done. We have had these students actually be the mentors and coaches. The Googlers step back. We let the students do it. That's the important part. They run around in the capes. Capes are important. Every party is better with a cape. So they're the ones who are, all these people in capes, those are students. And they're the ones who are going in there helping. So we've all heard about you learn something more when you teach it. Well, that's exactly what happens. And we do a prep session with these students. We have a deck called Know Before You Go. So we do that beforehand by GVC, or if we're on campus already, we do it then. And I have been absolutely so impressed with the amazing organizational skills, technical preparation skills. The students have been absolutely fabulous. That has been a highlight of bringing this to campuses around the country. So the t-shirts, yes, not the capes. We only have so many. But there's always special dispensation for the people in this room. All right, so I would love for Tiffany to stand up, come up and say a few words. She was at Penn State, and I'd like for you to hear from her what the experience was like.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. I think I've met a lot of you over the past day. A couple of weeks ago, I ran a Cloud Hero event with Leslie and some members of one of the other student clubs that is on Penn State's campus, because our DSC is still up and coming, right? So we were able to partner with another club called Nittany Data Labs, who initiated the event with Leslie, and all of us together kind of worked on this event. So she came with a couple of Googlers. It was super fun. And we had probably about, 45 people or so show up. We had a lot more register, which is one of the points I will get to in a minute. But we had about 45 people show up, and it was super supportive and really fun. So what we did is we went through, did kind of the schedule that Leslie announced, and then myself and the other members of the student club went around, helped everybody, kind of taught everybody things, and at the end, there was a little competition. We gave out some prizes, and it seemed to me like everyone had a really nice time. There was a lot of beginners. So for our school, for example, and probably a lot like your schools, there is not a lot of cloud training in the classroom. So the only way that our students will get this training is from events like this or their own personal interest, right? So this was big for a lot of people. It was their first time. So we got some good feedback on that. And then also the competitive element was pretty fun. We had some pretty cool prizes, which I think were up on one of these. But a couple of things that we learned was, first of all, don't host your event on a really, really popular weekend. So I guess we hosted our event during homecoming weekend, and like, we're Penn State, it's a football school. We had about 150 people sign up. Like I said, about 45 people actually made it on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. So think about that when you're choosing time, even for your study jams, like honestly. Think about what your members, your attendees might be doing, what might get in the way. Because if we had all 150 people there, it would have been super, super cool. Having 45 was still really good, but, so kind of think about that. And then also think about the level of prior knowledge. Like Leslie was saying, it's really important to try to do some study jams ahead of time. Some of the people in the Cloud Hero had seen a study jam that I did last year as a student innovator, but that was very few. So, but those people were kind of a little bit ahead. Yeah, and we had some people complete things pretty quickly. But yeah, by and large, yeah. So if you have any questions about this, please come find me later. I'll be around all weekend. Thanks. Yeah.
All right. So we have had, as I said, 4 Cloud Heroes. We've had participants between 45 up to 85. That was a big room. And we have Santa Clara. Where's Angeline? There she is. We'll be together on Monday. So we're doing Santa Clara at the business school, actually. So that'll be exciting as well. So I would love to spend my last few minutes asking if you have any questions. And there's my email right there.